What is going on, everybody? Happy Saturday night. Hope you're all doing well. So let's get right into this. Shout out to everybody in the chat here, by the way. Let's get right into it. If you haven't heard, the Yankees won their arbitration hearing against Mark Leiter earlier today. He had initially filed for $2.5 million, and he wound up settling at $2.05 million. So it's a difference of $450K. So now there are no other arbitration hearings that need to take place. Shout out to the chat, everybody in here. And so now, what's the next matter of business? Obviously, they've got 3 more roster spots that need to be filled. They're at 37 out of 40, but they don't need to have this done until opening day. This needs to happen by pitchers and catchers reporting, which is in 10 days. So it's something to keep in mind. And obviously, the reports are telling us that they're still looking to add an infielder. Okay. And obviously they'll add it. I think they're going to add a backup catcher and a left-handed reliever too. But what it did tell me is that even though DJ LeMahieu's healthy now and they're confident in him, I don't think he's going to be a starter. Just like I don't think Oswaldo Cabrera is going to be a starter or Oswald Peraza. They're going to get an opportunity to compete for the job in spring training. But with that said, they're still looking to add players outside of the organization, okay? Because they clearly are not confident enough with any of the guys that are in the organization right now to be starters. And I can't blame them. So, I like Oswaldo Cabrera, I like Oswald Peraza, I like DJ LeMahieu. But at this point, they have not proven to be what the Yankees need for a starting position in third base or second base. So, and they're looking at a couple other players. Obviously, the reports now, they're looking into Kike Hernandez. They looked at him last year, too. They were runners-up to the Dodgers. Last year, he went back to the Dodgers. You want to chip with them and so on and so forth, but they're looking into him again. And they're re-looking into Yoan Moncada. They looked into him a while back, but they're looking into him again. Now, let me just pull this up here because I'm going to extract. Let's just give you an idea. So Yoan Moncada this past year, he only had 40 at-bats. So 11 hits, batted .275. Not much of a sample size, right? So if it were me, there's no way in the world I would be bringing him to be a starting player. It would be a bench piece to me. Unless you say you got 200 at-bats, 250 at-bats. That's a bench piece for me. I cannot expect him to go from 40 bats to 500 or 600. That's just an beyond unrealistic expectation. Okay, and the fact is, he's still unsigned. So, to me, I would try to bring him in as a bench player and fortify the bench even more. He's got positional versatility, plays third and second, so he can alternate with whoever plays third and jazz or whatnot. So that's how I look at him. Now, Kike Hernandez, he had 362 at-bats, 83 hits, 12 homers, batted .230, and he had a WAR of 1.3. He also has positional versatility. He plays second and short and outfield. Okay, so to me, the Yankees would be able to provide, even though the Dodgers said today that the door's still open on bringing him back, he would have more opportunity to play with the Yankees now that the Dodgers infield is way crowded. So that's why I'm looking at it. But he could want to emotionally go back to the Dodgers for all we know. But he would be a guy that I would also have him probably rotate around the field as being a Swiss Army knife, kind of like Oswaldo Cabrera, right, to play multiple positions. And the question I have is, if they were somehow to bring him in here, does he make Trent Grisham expendable because he can play the outfield? Does Trent Grisham get put on the market then? That's the question I have. And maybe he does. Because the fact of the matter is, and it's important to keep this in mind, no matter who comes here, okay, now that the Yankees have settled with Mark Leiter Jr., they're at about $305 million for the payroll. They're over the cone threshold officially, right? And any dollar that they spend now is going to be taxed at 100 to 110%. So there's a reason why they didn't sign Ha-Seong Kim. I know it pissed off a lot of people the other day, but he got signed for 2 years, $29 million, 14.5 per year. Apply the tax here. It would have been 2 years, $60 million. It would have been $30 million a year here for Hassan Kim. Do you want to pay $30 million for a guy coming off shoulder surgery? $30 million a year, he's going to miss a chunk of the year? I know I don't, right? So the Rays can afford to take that risk, and it is a risk. So the Yankees can't, right? So then there's something to keep in mind. This is one reason I'll pass on Alex Bregman too, much as it would be nice. But the fact of the matter is, he's probably going to make $25 million a year. That's going to be at least $50 million a year here as a Yankee. At least $50 million a year. Okay, and then on top of that, okay, the ace, what's good? On top of that, they're going to have to lose 2 draft picks because he had a QO attached to him, right? Ace, brother. What's good, man? So you had 2 draft picks attached to him, right, with a qualifying offer. And then on top of that, they would probably lose the ability to sign Juan Diasagen. If you know who Juan Diasagen is, he's the #1 international prospect next year. And the Yankees are already favored to be the ones signing him. And if you sign somebody like Alex Bregman, do you want him to be the reason you can't sign the #1 kid next year? Right? The 40-man sitting at 37 right now. Well, maybe it's 38 now with Mark Leiter now that he's official, but I think he's already on the roster anyway. So it's no more than I do think it is 37. So do you want to give up that much for Alex Bregman? Do you want to pay $30 million a year for somebody like Ha-Seong Kim? Look at Luis Arias, right? $14 million a year. That's what he settled on. 14 would be 29 here, which makes a trade of Marcus Stroman that much more effective, or that much more necessary, I should say. You're going to have to offload that. And if you bring in somebody like Kike, then I would imagine they were going to try to offload Trent Grisham too. So that's something to think. There's just a couple of things to think about. But now Kike and Yoan Moncada, obviously Yoan Moncada can be had on the much cheaper, but he's going to be. I can't see him as a starting player. There's no way I would start him over Oswaldo Cabrera or Oswald Peraza, which is why I think they're going to still. And one of the problems I think is happening right now is Scott Boras and Alex Bregman are holding up a lot of the market, right? Consigliere, gifted 5. Thank you so much, my friend. You are the man. Consigliere, right? That's the Tom Hagen of the channel. The made man, Emperor of Texas, the Prime Minister of Texas. Thank you, my friend. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, these things have to be factored in. And for some reason, nobody's factoring this stuff in on Twitter, right? And hardly anybody's factoring it on YouTube. You got people out here calling the Yankees soft and all this baloney. That's the most delusional take I've ever heard. Okay, so what is going on? Yeah, there's a couple of teams that could afford to get Stroman, not only financially, but could benefit from having Stroman. The Marlins, the Oakland A's, the Cardinals. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they revisited Arenado and Marcus Stroman. So Josh Smith could be another one. He's a 3-WAR guy. I mentioned him yesterday. Talked about him, and even Jace Young. But Josh Smith, he could be a guy like. The Texas Rangers now have to replace Max Scherzer, who signed with the Blue Jays. So can Marcus Stroman be a trade piece to Texas? And maybe you can attach Mark Leiter to him or Trent Grisham to him and get Josh Smith back, right? And maybe another prospect or something or whatever. So I think it's worth looking into. And again, he's got multiple years of control, right? So I honestly don't think, Brandon, I don't think they're starting Oswaldo or Oswald Peraza. They're still actively trying to look for guys so that they don't have to start these guys, right? But they should get every opportunity to win the job, but there's no guarantee they're going to do that. So they clearly are not confident enough in these guys right now. Otherwise, they wouldn't be looking for other infielders, right? So Coach Carl, there he is. Yeah, it's a good question what's happening with the Padres. I mean, it's kind of being revisited, right, this Luis Arias. But I think if a Luis Arias trade is going to happen, keep in mind, too, the Padres' goal right now, right, is to lower payroll. So Stroman for Arias does not help them do that at all, right? Even if we eat some money. So Yankees would probably have to take one of the lefty relievers, and I'm okay with that because we need a lefty reliever. Yuki Matsui or one of these other guys. If you could take one of those folks, and F-E, brother. So if you take one of these guys, yeah, I don't know. The Texas Rangers just re-signed Eovaldi, and I'm not sure Jacob deGrom's healthy, so I'm not sure they're going to move on from him either. But I don't think Nathan Eovaldi would be traded here because they just re-signed him. So DeGrom, I'd be shocked if they did that, but I wouldn't take. DeGrom's making like $35 million a year, so I don't think so. Anthony, he didn't say Dominguez is not playing center field. He said at the time, okay, and again, the other day, if the roster was today, this is what it looked like. But he also said that they're going to move these guys around to see what's better suited, right? People, like, there's so many people who just went with this thing and completely ignored all the other stuff that he said. I don't know why. So, again, he didn't say, that's not the only thing he said. Martian's not, he said he's going to get a chance to play center. He's going to get a chance to play left just like Bellinger. He's going to be moving them around. Okay? So, did people not hear that? I did. So, and again, well, Bregman has 2 offers now of 6 years. One from the Astros, one from another team. And I'm trying to find out who the team is, and I don't know who it is. So that's when I talked about yesterday about that. So, no, the Yankees are not going to give Bregman 6 years. They're not even going to give him 2 years because of all the stuff that comes along with the 2 years. He's not even going to get a shot. And why would he take a 2-year deal when he can get 6 from 2 other places? So the Yankees have 0 Bregman, 0. So Dylan Cease gets traded to the Mets. It makes the rotation better, sure. I don't know. I don't know. The Dodgers' offense is still better than the Mets' offense, so I'm not sure. Maybe a move this week, but I don't know all the final moves. They have all spring, right? They've got all spring to make moves, and again, guys get cut, guys get traded, they get moved around, right? And so the Yankees will have opportunity to move these guys, to bring some other guys on. You might see a reliever being added, somebody being traded, a couple of guys getting invited to spring training that might make the team. So we don't exactly know just yet. But I think Dominguez is going to get us. Yeah, I think Dominguez will start. I don't think he's going to start the season as a leadoff hitter. But February is probably, NFE. For February, yeah, once they're in spring training, like the first round of cuts generally happens like the first 2 weeks of spring. So you'll have a greater lot of players that could be available, right? So that could happen. But they're definitely looking to bring in somebody, that's for sure. So we'll just have to wait and see what they said. Well, what they do, I should say. But again, Boone was talking about if the roster was today, and the roster's incomplete. So, which is why I'm not really taking what Jeff Passan says as gospel, or even Jack Curry. Hal said they're not done. Cashman said they're not done, and they're showing it. So Arias could be expendable straight, but he is blocked by Lombard, in my opinion. So we'll see. Could he be an option? And this is the thing too. Some of this, I think they're waiting for Bregman to be signing somewhere, because if he signs with the Cubs, maybe a player becomes expendable over there. If he signs with the Tigers, maybe one of their infielders becomes expendable. It gives more options for the Yankees officially, right? So we got some folks joining here. We got Train Express. What's good, my man?
What's going on, Jason?
Where in the lineup do I see Bellinger? All good over here, man. Bellinger, it depends on who the other bat is. If it's, let's just say it's Max Muncy, right? I think Bellinger bats second. If it's Nico Horner, I think Bellinger still bats second. So it really depends on who the other bat's going to be. Is Luis Arias would lead off here, and who knows who else can become available. There's talks about Eugenio Suarez now. I don't know if that's going to happen, but he's a power guy. He would probably bat cleanup. So I think Bregman's going to wind up back with the Astros too, and the Astros have been clearing money to bring him back. So, what's your take on it, Ezra? And we got Jonathan joining us too.
I think it's probably going to be.
Jonathan,
Honestly, I think Bregman will end up with the Cubs. As odd as that sounds, I think the Cubs will end up landing him, just for the simple fact that they've got Kyle Tucker, a former teammate of Bregman, and I think that also helps them. So for me, I think the Cubs get him, and it'll make Nico Horner much more expendable than what a lot of people think.
what's your take, Jonathan?
I actually agree with that. I think Bregman could go for the Cubs, and it's possible that Nico Horner could be a trade piece for the Yankees if that happens. Because, as we're just saying, I don't think the Cubs will trade Nico Horner without a replacement, and they have until they get that replacement. Nico Horner is not going to be traded.
Well, exactly.
But as far as the Yankees, I wouldn't be surprised if they go in-house with one of the infield positions.
Possible too. They're going to get every opportunity to win, but the fact that the Yankees are still actively looking for somebody out of the house leads me to believe that they're not confident with any of these in-house guys.
But as I said, I believe one of the two infield positions will be in the system right now, unless there's a trade coming on later this month.
That's what we're going to wait and see. So for a trade or a free agent signing. I mean, I was talking about Yohan Moncada, he's to me he can't be any more than a bench player.
Yeah,
and
Moncada is a guy I wanted maybe 5 years ago, but not now.
Yeah, and again, he had 40 at bats this past year. So you give him 200 at bats as a bench player this year. That's a hell of a jump. I don't expect him to get 600 at bats coming off 40. There's no way.
So
what do you think? Go ahead, Mazza.
I think that Kike is more of a likely fit, for the simple fact that the Yankees had interest in him last year. Now, I know that with Stroman's contract on the books, I do foresee a Stroman trade coming soon. As for Kike, what I could see the Yankees doing, and I had proposed this earlier in the group chat, Jason, was him getting a year for 7.5 with an option for a second for another 7, or a $5 million buyout if either team or player don't want to take the option. But there would also be incentives to try to get him to play at a much higher level. So $125,000 for a top 5 in Gold Glove voting, $100,000 for an All-Star selection, $125,000 for an LDS MVP, or $125,000 for 140 games minimum played. So that means he would have to play 140 games before that incentive kicked in. So something like that could be a possibility, or they can make a trade like you were saying earlier. I know that we've been talking about Arias, we've been talking about Arenado, we've been talking Nico Horner, but maybe we need to think outside the box for a second. Maybe we need to think of some that they might make a trade for an infielder that we just aren't thinking of. This is something that Catherine does quite frequently. So I'm guessing that it'll probably be a move that brings in some that we're not thinking of. And I do think that Stroman will get moved sooner rather than later.
Well, I agree with that. But assuming that doesn't happen, what do you think of the idea of Vivas?
No.
No?
He hasn't even been called up at any point in time. So I think he's behind
the schedule.
I can see Vivas being moved in a package.
Yeah, so Vivas could be part of a trade to get an infielder.
Could be, or relief pitcher,
or pitcher. Because we do need a lefty relief pitcher. Who do you think could be a lefty relief pitcher that we get?
There's been a couple guys that have been DFA'd over the past week too. My ideal scenario would be to trade Stroman to the Marlins and try to get Nardi over here.
I had.
You've been wanting Nardi for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yes,
I
I have.
You have been. I actually proposed a deal where maybe the Blue Jays do want Marcus Stroman. Maybe they do want to add him. What if you were able to get him? And this is an off-the-wall idea because, remember, this is outside the box that I'm thinking. The Toronto Blue Jays have a couple of lefties, and I like one of their lefties a little bit more than what they've got. So I was thinking, what if you were able, to package maybe Vivas and Stroman in and maybe another prospect for Brendan Little. Now, Brendan Little is not a free agent until 2031. And his numbers last year in 49 games was he was 1-2 with a 3.74 ERA, 45 and 2/3 innings pitched, 36 strikeouts, and a 1.31 WHIP.
Interesting. And he'd probably improve under Map Lake.
That might be, yeah, and he's very young. He's only 28.
I mean, lefties relievers with controllable years is something that
I would entertain that idea.
Yeah, I mean, any lefty that I think there's one reason why that obviously there's a couple of reasons why Tim Hill's not back yet. Number one, he's trying to get a second year guaranteed, and nobody's giving it to him. So, and I don't know if they think they can do anything more with him.
Brandon has a question. Do you think George Lombard will be ready in 27?
It's too soon for that.
Yeah.
2 years away. It's just too early to predict that.
Brooks really isn't he a righty?
His metrics are have all the makings of a star, George Lombard. So that's too early.
If he continues on his trajectory, he probably will be ready. But
probably
it's too early to talk about 27. I'm now focused on 25.
Yeah, same.
I don't think Brooks really would be an option at this point. I would rather have Tim Hill back over Brooks Raley.
Would you go the second year for Hill?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I would do a year and an option for Hill, honestly.
Because he seems to be steadfast on wanting the second year because he's had a bunch of 1-year options.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we would be able to get Willie Castro. I think that would really all depend on what the Twins would want for him. Another arm that if we go back, I'm going to go back up in the chat here, Jason.
Go ahead.
There was a name that was brought up that we haven't spoken about, and it could be an interesting thought, and Cadzilla brought it up, and I want to give a shout out to Cadzilla for it. But Josh Young or even Jace Young, those are two options that we have not spoken about. Josh Young would thrive under James Rowson. He would thrive in a smaller ballpark, and he would provide us that lefty, or not lefty, but that third baseman that we could use and put Jazz at second.
Got 4 years of control. 4 years of control.
So who would you put in a trade to get him?
Arias is for one, for the simple fact that Arias is blocked, and he's probably not going to be able. He's probably not going to get the playing time here. So I would say Arias. I would probably give up Vivas for him. And I might give up one pitcher for him.
I mean, I try to give him Stroman. He needs some of the money.
That would be two shortstops.
I would probably try to give him. I would probably do Stroman, Arias, and Vivas.
2 shortstops and a pitcher.
Yeah,
because
Vivas plays multiple positions too, which is good. Position versatility.
Think about it. You give him Vivas, he could slide into third now if he wanted to for them.
Consigliere, always a pleasure, man. The Tom Hagen of the channel right there. He's heading back to work, brother. Be safe. Keep smacking the like buttons, everybody. We got 130 people in here. Let's try to get them likes over 100.
I don't know if I would want Jammer because I think maybe 3 years ago, but not now.
Yeah, and the same thing with Rengifo. I have no interest in Rengifo not this either. So,
what do you think of the idea of trading for Josh Smith back? We had him once before.
Yeah, and he had 3 WAR seasons past year. So
For who?
Josh Smith
from the Texas Rangers. For me, he was the guy. He's the guy the Yankees traded for Gallo.
He's the guy we traded for Gallo for, Josh Smith.
That's not a bad idea.
Hmm?
I had one, and I had mentioned it multiple times last year, Jason, if you remember, was Ezekiel Duran. He plays multiple positions.
Another former Yankee in the Gallo trade.
Yep. They both went, right? Duran and Smith for Gallo.
Did you see that thing I sent earlier that Bobby Malone had posted, Jason?
About? The 3 comparisons between?
No, it was where was it? It was a very interesting thing that he had posted in regards to
Arenado and Arias.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna pull it up. It was a very interesting take, and I want to give a shout out to him because but if you guys don't follow Bobby Malone, please do so. Stroman for Arenado makes too much sense for both teams. It seems both teams cannot trade their player. They might want to revisit talks they had in early December. And I find that to be very interesting for the simple fact that if the Yankees are willing to eat the amount of money that they're saying that they're willing to eat, and if they can get the Cardinals up just a little bit more, maybe they could work out a deal to where they can get rid of Stroman and the Cardinals can get rid of Arenado. Now, mind you, Arenado is not the same he was 5 years ago. However, Arenado would still be an upgrade at third for us, and it would give us a very solid defensive infield.
Do you think they can do a 1-for-1 trade in that scenario?
No. If St. Louis is gonna say that they will only eat 20 million, then yes, then you say then you're only getting one guy, and that's it. And we're doing a 1-for-1. And that might drive them to say, okay, I will give you more to pay most of that or some of that salary, and then maybe they can get something a little bit more in return, as well as the Yankees. Now, the Yankees could also say, hey, we'll give you Stroman, eat most of Stroman's contract, and a couple of prospects for Arenado and a lefty pitcher. They could do that too. But again, there is a lot that the Yankees can work with.
Yeah. Also, Arenado makes $3 million more than Stroman. He makes 21. Stroman makes 18.
Rudy. Funny. Yes, he does. And he's an everyday player too, whereas Stroman is not. So, again, this is why, like, if the Yankees are going to be eating a chunk of Stroman's money in an Arenado trade, then I think they're going to have to probably move Grisham too.
Yeah.
More money.
Grisham, yeah.
I mean, Grisham could be expendable now with Everson Pereira coming back, and they also have Brendan Davis, so that they acquired early this offseason. So they have and Brendan Davis got like 5 controllable years for Grisham.
The Yankees have a lot of outfielders and infield. I think they're strong in outfield, infield, and catching.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of catching depth, even though, and I don't think any of those catchers are going to be ready to be Austin Wells' backup, though. The problem is, so I think they're going to probably look outside of maybe a free agent signing instead of, because I don't see the point in trading for Christian Vasquez for the Twins. He's making $10 million a year. I'm not going to make $10 million.
I'm not trading for Christian Vasquez. We don't need him.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I mean, Arenado, some people want him, some people don't. I mean, I think his glove will pay more than his bat, but I don't know. He's not Josh Donaldson 2.0. He doesn't have the character flaws that Donaldson has and all that stuff. So, it's just going to go right down to the wire. I mean, Willie Castro could be an option. And I said this too. I mean, for those that don't know, Luis Arias, he has range problems going to the right? Going to the right. So when he's at second base, when he's going towards the center of the field, that's his right. So he also plays third base. What if you played him up closer to the line?
Right? I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Right? You play him close to the line. That way he only has to go to the left. Because to his right, it's a foul ball.
Well, if you can get Arias and play him at third base and lead him off, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thought. It's a thought. So I mean, like,
is Arias a dead pull hitter, or can he hit?
He sprays the ball everywhere. He sprays the ball everywhere.
He's similar to Ichiro.
Yeah, he sprays the ball everywhere.
So I that might be a good idea. I mean, initially in the off season, I was against Arias because of his defense. But if we put him, that was him at second base. But if we put him at third, and he can play the position and put Jazz back at second, then maybe that's a decent infield.
Hey, Jason.
Yo.
Here's an idea. Let's say they do call Minnesota and say, hey, what about Willie Castro? What if they also ask for Brent Hedrick? He's a left-handed pitcher and is not a free agent until 2031. He is 27 years old, however, but he does not start his arbitration years until 2028.
So he's got 5 controllable years left, 6 controllable years, actually.
Yeah.
3 pre-arb and 3 arb left.
Yep.
I mean, that's the type of guy with the controllable years that would be. And Willie Castro's not expensive, so in terms of
Willie Castro,
84 likes. Keeping them like buttons, gang. Let's get over 100 likes, gang. Keep giving that thumbs up.
Plays second and short in the outfield, and he's not a free agent until 26.
What makes these fantasy trades, Joseph?
Fantasy trade. This is not fantasy trades. This is our opinions.
Yeah, and people that we're hearing are available, and they're trying to position, fill need for need. We're hearing that Willie Castro's available.
Volpe had a weak arm at shortstop, but he won a Gold Glove. So
yeah,
that's too much for Arenado.
I'm your emoji. Yeah.
Stroman, Vivas, Leilani for Arenado. That's too much.
One, that's too much, and secondly, the Cardinals are looking to dump salary, and I don't know if they would. But that's too much to give the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, change Nolan Arenado and put Brendan Donovan in.
You put Brendan Donovan in that, and I will.
I'll give those 3 guys up for Donovan.
How were we wrong about the deferred money with the Dodgers?
Wrong about what? Deferred money is deferred money.
Dodgers.
You don't have to deal with the deferred money now. Deferred money is making it easy for them to sign players.
And Jason, you mentioned last week, I believe, Dodgers are owned by $1 billion corporation. They can afford deferred money.
They are not financing a stadium like the Yankees are.
Yes, you can kick it to an ownership. They can reinvest the money, okay, the deferred money, but they can sell the team, okay, and the new ownership would be saddled with whatever deferred money is not paid off. That's venture capital. That's how it works. Yes, you can.
I've been to Dodger Stadium. It's a very nice stadium.
I did look it up, Joseph. I used to work on Wall Street, dude. I'm very well versed in this stuff. You can, okay. So anyway, back to less trolling here. So, what's folks that are in the chat, based on who's available, what would be your move? Warren, Vivas, Peraza for Arenado.
That might do it.
Yeah, I mean,
It might do it.
Vivas might not be ready yet, so Peraza would be ready. So there you go.
You know, another pitcher that could get traded that we haven't talked about is Buck Selvage.
Yeah, salvage another one.
He could be a pitcher that be packaged in a trade. The Yankees have had him for what, 3 or 4 years now, and he's still in double A. So I don't know what they plan to do with him, but I think he's a trade piece.
Could be.
Here's something interesting, Jason. Graham put Arenado and JoJo Romero.
Yeah, Arenado and JoJo. I mean, Arenado and JoJo or Arenado and John King. I'm okay with either one of them. Lefty relievers with controllable years.
Yeah.
Vivas and Brock Selvage or Lamont. Doesn't Lamont Wade play first base?
That's what I was just about to ask.
Yeah,
I think he does play first.
I mean, Coach Carl keeps hitting Arias. I mean, Arias seems to be the one that's going to be the easiest one to probably facilitate a trade for.
If we can trade Vivas and Selvage for a lefty, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, you could trade him for a lefty reliever.
Or how about this, Jason? And this is just an idea. What if you did Vivas and Selvage for a JoJo Romero or a John King, and then look to San Diego for Arias?
I mean, you could. Ken, there he is. DJ's his choice. Not trading for any of them. There's no player. Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, you know who my first picks are: Brandon Donovan and Ryan McMahon, over anybody else. So.
And there is one other thing we haven't mentioned is that the Yankees farm system has taken a dramatic hit over the last year with all the Rule 5 and trades.
And the promotions.
So the farm system is not as desirable as it used to be 2 years ago.
So Lamont Wade is not a player we need. I hate to tell you. I did bring up a while back, Jason, if you remember, was Eric Miller and where is he? Marco Luciano. And now I say Luciano, and I know people don't want to hear it, but Luciano would be better fit at second base, especially if he's going to be surrounded by Paul Goldschmidt, Jazz, and Anthony Volpe. I think that Marco Luciano would be a perfect fit for second base, so you can keep Jazz at third. And he would flourish there. And then Eric Miller as your left-handed reliever.
Interesting.
Can Luciano play? He's a second baseman.
He's a second baseman and a shortstop, but he is not a great defensive shortstop. He would be a better defensive second baseman than being at short where we have Anthony Volpe.
And he doesn't have a good offensive streak. He's
I mean, Matsui is a good complement to Arias, Yuki Matsui.
If they were able to do that, I'd be okay with that.
He's got like 5 years left on his contract or something like that.
Luciano was just a rookie last year, so last year was his rookie season.
Donovan, look at this, Ken. Ken's coming out guns blazing here.
I like that, actually. And
Jones and Schmidt for Donovan. Oh, man.
He said Jones or Schmidt, not Jones and Schmidt.
Or Schmidt. Okay. Schmidt, I would do. Like I said, the only way I would trade Schmidt is if I get a player with the same amount of controllable years in return. There is no way in the world I'm trading Schmidt for 1 year of Michael King or 1 year of Dylan Cease. Not happening ever.
Cabrera is not a starter. Cabrera, Oswaldo Cabrera is not a starter. He is a good piece off the bench, and that's what we need. He is a super utility guy, and
So, do you see Jones being any part of this team this year?
No,
not until later on the season. Maybe he'll get
unless someone gets hurt.
And what would happen if Jones just had a monster spring training? Like he bats close to .370 with solid defense, good
Starting,
offense.
he's starting AAA.
He would still start AAA.
Yeah, and then if Stanton got hurt, he'd be the first guy to call up.
Yeah, well,
And I think, Jason, I know, and I'd like your opinion on this. Bryce A says the Cards won't trade Donovan as their GM is a lame duck and only will move expiring contracts this year. So Bloom will have a clean slate next year.
Hein Bloom?
Here's where I'm like your opinion on it, because I think with everything that's gone on between St. Louis and Donovan, I think they might have rubbed Donovan the wrong way, and he now may want out of St. Louis.
I mean, if anybody's going to find out, it's going to be Brian Cashman. So
Yeah,
he's going to work the angles every way he possibly can. And again, he's not going to leak to anybody. He's not going to.
I think Cashman wants to get the best deal he can get.
Yeah, and he's going to wait until that happens. He's not going to take a bad deal just for the sake of taking a deal.
Yeah.
Right? Just because fans want him to do that. So that's not. He has a team, a business to run, and a team to run. So,
I think if there's going to be a deal made before the season, it's probably going to be sometime during spring training.
Yeah.
Even though I do think that it's possible they could make a February trade, it's more likely they'll make a March trade if they make a trade at all.
This week, I could see Bregman being signed.
Yeah, Bregman. I think Bregman could be the next big name off the field.
Yeah, Alonso, I don't know. So, and he might. Yeah, you might be right, Ken. At that ARB hearing, Leiter might get traded.
I think Leiter will be packaged with Stroman.
Yeah, he could be. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, that Steven, I think Cashman is going to do some out of nowhere move that we're not thinking of.
Like Williams.
He does that.
Another thing to remember, the Yankees got their arbitration deals out of the way. Now they don't have to focus on that.
Any of it.
Now, after today, the arbitration is settled. They know exactly how much money they have on the books right now.
Yep.
So,
and yes, Jason,
I do expect moves coming very soon.
Also,
Seattle was told that Donovan was not a ball, but this was before they messed up with the negotiations with Donovan. This was before they failed to avoid arbitration. They lowballed him in the extension offer. This was like a month before that, Jason knows. So the situation could be a little bit different now. I can't confirm it, but it could be.
Also, just to put this out there, the Yankees have not traded a single top 10 prospect in any of those deals that they made.
Mm-hmm. This is true. NFE, I don't think they settled yet, Donovan in St. Louis. Not that I know of. I don't know.
Would Royce Lewis be a good fit here, though?
Isn't he on a huge deal?
Royce Lewis is 25 and is not a free agent until 29. So he has another year of pre-ARB and 3 years of ARB.
Okay. So he's got 4 years of cheap, controllable. Okay. What position does he play?
He plays. Let me get back to it. Royce Lewis plays third and short.
Okay.
Moncada is a free agent?
I would not sign Moncada.
As I said, I would have signed him maybe 6 years ago, but not now.
Yeah, especially not as a starter. I think we have better guys here that I would like. If you're going to keep DJ, if he's healthy, apparently he is. He's a bench guy for me until they can move on from. For those that haven't heard, the Yankees tried to DFA him last year.
Who?
And Judge and the veterans of the team wouldn't let them do it.
They tried to DFA who?
DJ LeMahieu. They tried to get rid of him.
Oh.
And Judge,
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, Judge Rizzo and a couple of the other veterans stood up and protested, didn't let him do it. So the Yankees did try to get rid of DJ.
Did not hear that. That's wild. I was not aware of that.
Mhm.
It wouldn't surprise me if DJ has another injury-ridden season. He could be DFA'd at the end of the year because I believe he has one more year left after this year.
He does. He has 2 years.
2 years, this year and next year.
Yep, 25 and 26.
So if DJ has a bad year, they could just eat his last year and DFA him.
Mm-hmm.
You know who still needs starting pitching?
Who was that?
Detroit and Baltimore.
Yeah, Detroit. I mean, Stroman's got a sub-1 ERA in Detroit.
So do you think he's a good trade? He's a possible trade partner with
Yeah.
Detroit?
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And what about Flaherty?
Flaherty, I think, will go to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati?
Or
Yep.
the Braves. Or the Braves, I think.
I remember the Yankees were in on him before that trade to Detroit.
They actually had a deal in place,
Yeah.
but they flagged his medicals. That's why it didn't get done.
I was with Jason when that happened.
Yep. Yep.
There is a lefty in the.
Let's remember that, John. I
There's
remember
actually multiple lefties in Detroit system that might not be a bad look at. Let me pull them up here. Was that the one we just looked at? So Brant Herter is a lefty in Detroit's bullpen. In 10 games, he was 6-1, a 2.58 ERA, 38 strikeouts, 45 and a third innings pitched, and a sub-1 whip. Now, Brant Herter.
Oh, hang on, Mazza. Joseph, get the DEI stuff out of here, dude. Get that Trump garbage out of here, please. Otherwise, you're gone. Don't pull that here. You want unqualified people? Donald, Eric, Ivanka, all unqualified. There's the epitome of DEI right there. Done. Let's stop with the DEI stuff.
Wait, try it. This is not a politics channel.
It's not a politics channel, man.
So, Brant Herter
96 likes.
also is not a free agent until 2031. So that means his ARB years start at 2028. That means we would have 6 years of team control over him. And Stroman would be a good fit for Detroit. It gives him a veteran leadership. And it also gives them a guy who pitches extremely well there. So that could be a possibility. And, even Jace Young, I would take.
Yeah, he's the younger brother of Josh Young. He's got 5 or 6 years of controllable play.
Yeah, I think Stroman to the Tigers is actually a good move.
It could be a really good one, man. And they need to add a pitcher behind Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would if I was in Cashman's ear, I would get him on the phone and say, see if you can make a deal with the Tigers.
And this is the other thing too. Like, I have a feeling Cashman's on the phone with all these teams, but he's never going to let people know that. So,
No.
These
guys are probably so quiet you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah. He could be on the phone right now as we speak, for all we know. So, I don't know. And I'd rather it be that way, to be honest with you. I don't think he's going to. Every time you leak, you lose leverage. So,
yeah,
that is true.
It's yeah, we're all Yankee fans, Dwayne. No, that's right, baby. Yankee fans here. All different from different angles too, and that's okay. Only thing I ask that people just be respectful. That's it.
So there was a report that Omar Minaya himself said that the Yankees aren't done. Just putting that out there.
Yankees
we got 99 likes.
99 likes. We need one more like. Well, Stroman's a gamer though, and Stroman can give innings. So, would you rather pay $25 million a year for Jack Flaherty for 3 years, probably? Would you rather get Stroman for probably the same amount of innings pitched?
Stroman for the same amount of innings pitched.
150 innings pitched, like something like that. Yeah.
Cadzilla, Stroman would be better in Detroit because it's a bigger ballpark.
Yeah.
And he has a sub-1 ERA in Detroit.
He has a good track record there. So if you put Stroman in a good ballpark with the right team around him, trash can become treasure.
Yeah, sometimes change of scenery is all you need. And it seems it's just he's already scratched the Yankees off all of his social media. So it seems as if he wants gone.
So I think that alone shows that Stroman will get traded, because why do you scratch all evidence, public evidence of the Yankees, if you're not either want to be here or in the process of getting traded?
Mm-hmm.
Jason, I'll be right back.
Bye, Ron. Yeah, Joseph, the Rays have Yandy Diaz, but they took him off the market. They decided not to move him. They decided not to move Brandon Lowe. They took both of them off the market.
Yeah.
So that was probably about a month ago or 2 months ago.
Another thing to remember when talking about payroll is that the Yankees are getting a little bit of money from the Rays. So that reduces their tax threshold a little bit.
Yep. $15 million.
15 million. So they have an additional $15 million to play with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I obviously I never wanted the Rays stadium to be destroyed, but that's what happened.
Yeah, of course not. That's and the hurricane just ripped the whole top off of it, so nothing you can do. Like it's just it's hard to stop, and you can't stop the hurricanes when it's like that. So you're just gonna have to ride it out, unfortunately. So
yeah, well, hopefully the Rays were in the process of wanting to move, and they just got a head start. Yeah, and
the Yankees were kind enough to let them use George Steinbrenner Field for the whole entire season.
Yeah.
So, they'll have to be out of there as soon as spring training is over. The Yankees, so.
The Rays are going to be a very tough team this year. I think the AL East is going to be a much harder division than it was last year.
Yeah, and the Rays are going to draw more fans at George Steinbrenner Field than they did in their own stadium. So.
I think that stadium only holds about 11,000 people.
Yeah, and what do they average? Like 2,000 in their own stadium? So
maybe. And when there's a Yankee fan at a Yankee game, most of them are Yankee fans.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Tampa is basically Yankee country.
Yeah, and we can't say it's going to take them 2 years to build. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so
I'm not surprised.
Maybe they'll use the Steinbrenner Field for 2 years or whatever plan they come up with. So, they can. They might even, if they don't want to pay the Yankees, they might even move to Durham for a year, where they have a AAA team.
True. Again, I mean, the Rays are always tough. You're right, Mary Ellen. I mean, and they have good player development. They always have a top farm. And they make good trades. I mean, they're just smart. They have a smart front office.
What do you think of Gerard Lim's trade?
Gerard who?
In the chat, Gerard Lim put a trade. Sandy Alcantara.
Connor Narby for Stroman, Pereira, Spencer Jones. No.
I think that's a little bit too much on the Yankees' part.
Jones and Lombard for out.
No. Not Lombard. Maybe switch Lombard for Arias.
I'm not moving Jones.
No. I don't think Jones or Lombard will be moved in a trade.
Those are my two untouchables for the Yankees. Now let me look at this guy, Connor Norby. Let's take a look here.
Because remember, the only way I would have traded Jones is if they re-signed Soto.
That would have been a different story, but you can't now. And again, the way I see it too, I'm hoping that Jones makes big strides this year, because if he does, then maybe they don't have to pay $500 million for Kyle Tucker.
No, and Jones is basically has the potential to be a type Kyle Tucker type player.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fast.
And he's 5 years younger than him too.
Yeah, so 5 years of control. This is what the Yankees want. They want young, controllable players. Jones is a young, controllable player.
Just like
Now, if we can get Jones to hit 270 with some power, give you 25 to 30 home runs,
and he probably got 25 to 30 steals too.
and steals, yeah, because I don't know how many people know that he has speed for a fast guy.
He's like Ellie De La Cruz fast. He is fast. He is real crazy fast. Xavier Edwards. Yeah, I mean, let me see. Xavier is another dynamic player. I mean, Maz has mentioned him a few times. Norby's a third baseman. Yeah, I would not give up Spencer Jones for him.
Jones has been working all offseason on his swing. You mentioned he changed a bit of his swing this offseason, so maybe
he modified his whole loading phase.
Yeah, so hopefully that will reduce the strikeouts and increase the contact.
Yeah.
So, Jason,
go ahead.
While I was stepped away for a second, someone had said, now that the Rays have gotten Ha-Seong Kim, does that make Brandon Lowe available?
I don't think so, because Ha-Seong Kim is going to play shortstop. He's probably going to want to play shortstop, right? Who's their shortstop? The Rays.
Let me look.
I don't even know. And he's not going to be ready until what, May or June?
NFP Stanton will not be traded.
Who's that, Stanton? Oh, hell no.
Look at NFP's comment.
NFP. He's digging.
Trolling.
NFP, remember next year the Marlins pay part of his contract. Starting in 26.
The next 3 years, Jonathan. Next
26.
3 years.
Starting in 26. 26, 27, 28.
And 28 is an option year, too. 28 is an option.
And 28 is basically a buyout. It's a $10 million buyout paid by the Marlins.
And again, if he's close to 500 home runs, I think the Yankees are going to pick up whatever the option is and let him hit 500 with the Yankees. I'm not going to send them somewhere else and let him hit 500 with the damn Milwaukee Brewers or something like that. So, like,
OG Anunoby had exit the game with a right foot sprain.
Who did?
OG Anunoby. He hurt his right foot.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Jason, I want to say it's either Richie Palacos or Tyler. It's Tyler Walls. That's who it is.
Tyler Walls.
About what? What are we talking about?
For Tampa's shortstop.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's going to be either Tyler Walls or Richie Palacos, who is, well, he plays second, but I think he also plays shortstop as well. Let me just verify that for you.
Walls is a shortstop.
No, he's an outfielder and a second baseman. So it's going to be Tyler Walls.
And if he's like, just poking.
What's he doing?
Again, look what he's saying. Stanton's not good. We gotta.
He isn't. NFE, he's not. We should sit him on the bench and put Judge as the DH. That's what we should do.
Trade him for that guy who's a stud prospect who's not in the top 100.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we should trade for Tristan Cassis. How about that, Jason?
Who's also hurt. So.
A big guy for another big guy.
Oh, God. Where do we go?
This, an AI video that said the Yankees were a possible land. Polanco already re-signed with the Mariners.
Yep.
And
did you see NFU's comment?
Trade Stanton for Cassis. These AI channels came out today. 2 of them. One of them said that Garrett Cole has been suspended for a year for drug use, and then the other one said that actually 2 or 3 of these. The other one said that J-Ram signed the contract with him. He's not a free agent, J-Ram. And they also said that Willie Adames is going to sign a contract with the Yankees. He's also not a free agent. These are all AI videos today.
Wait, Willie Adames? The Willie Adames?
Yeah, Willie Adames. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Here we
Yeah.
go.
NFL.
NFP, you're doing a fantastic job with that, brother.
Look at Stephen B's comment.
Oh, I love this one.
Trade for Josh Hader, AJ Puck, sign Patrick Corbin. Like, I'm not doing that unless we can get Manny Acta to manage the team. So
Yeah, and we can put Jose Rojas and keep him at third.
This is a good question, Kenzilla. Nothing new on the. I know Mo put out a statement, but
So
I don't know. Nothing else. Yeah, I saw that too. They signed Shohei Ohtani, Tarek School. They said they also signed Rafael Devers. I'm like, who's subscribing to these channels?
I have no idea. Oh, there you go. We should bring back Enrique Wilson, instant chip.
Very funny.
Yeah, the devastating.
Oh, I have one, Jason. We should bring back Bubba Crosby.
That's a name that I haven't heard in a while.
Oh my God.
But in all
What about Nick
seriousness,
Johnson? He couldn't stay on the field.
in all seriousness, though, and I know that we are having fun trolling, but in all seriousness, Jason, I wanted to ask you this question a while back, but I forgot. What do you think about the Yankees making a deal that would involve Stroman, but them eating at least half the money and getting a younger, Stroman and prospects, obviously, and trying to get some IFA money in return?
If that's all they're going to get in return?
Yeah.
Only IFA money?
I mean,
or just Stroman for IFA money?
Stroman straight up for IFA money? I would do it. Depending on how much money and if they can. The problem is if it's just for IFA money, I don't think the team will eat all of its contracts. I mean, it doesn't seem like a.
Well, that's why I'm saying the Yankees would have to eat at least half of it.
So the Yankees are trading Stroman and paying about $9 million just for IFA money. I think
And
they would
maybe
want more than
they
that.
could finagle a prospect or a lefty out of it as well.
Maybe if they add a lefty reliever.
yeah, something like that. Something like that, I'll be fine with.
Because that means they would have to eat about $8 to $9 million of Stroman's contract.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, if it's just IFA money, I don't see that as a fair return.
I would be willing to do that if we did not have to if we were not on the hook for any of the option for 2026.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'll eat the $9 million this year if we were completely off the hook for 2026, the vesting option. But I don't know. We never get international players, and we go, nah, not necessarily, Steven. The Japanese players, but the Dominican players and everybody else we get. We're robust. And the Yankees have their own Dominican, complex out there. So, and Dominguez is Dominican.
Do you
There's no
remember?
such clause?
Go
ahead, Jonathan.
Do you remember Steinbrenner saying we have the ability to sign anybody we want? So what is that? What I want to know, what exactly does that mean in his mind? Does he mean, are we going to make a trade, get somebody that can help this team now, and what does that mean though? The details are so limited that I don't know what to make of that statement.
Exactly. That's exactly what he does. That's exactly what Cashman does, right? It's almost like they bait people into making ridiculous comments and ridiculous.
I mean, you get the fans all hype about getting Stroman, getting Soto, only to let him go the next year. And then you make a comment like, we can sign anybody where you want, even though you let Soto go because you didn't want to match the offer.
Yeah, I don't think they should have matched the offer either. In all honesty, $800
But
million.
then what's the point of the comment?
I think those comments were responses to other questions that kind of forced them to make those comments. They generally don't voluntarily make that type of stuff. Cashman and Hal, they generally respond like that when they're pressed by somebody.
They're generally pretty quiet when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
did you hear though that there's no extension talks between Michael King and the Padres?
Between who?
King and the
Michael
Padres.
King and the Padres?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That's wild.
I'm not sure if the Padres want to have any significant money because of the financial situation.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. If that's the case, Jonathan, then I mean, I don't think you could have predicted this. When they signed Tatis. However,
this is true too from NFE. People are saying the Yankees were not going to go over 550 or so. I remember a lot of people saying that.
Yeah,
and they went over.
They were $5 million less than the Mets.
725.
$400 million more than Judge. They offered him.
They went to 760 for 16 years. How is that not a fair offer?
A $60 million signing bonus too. So David Cohen. Yanks for life. I can't see King coming back here. At least not in the trade.
No, maybe a free agent, not a trade.
I don't know if I could see him coming back at all. I hate to say it. You know who it would be an interesting is an interesting piece, which a trade candidate, which has been talked about a lot, is the Cubs and Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of maybe the Orioles going after Michael King?
Well, if the Orioles want him, they're gonna get him.
You're gonna have to give up a lot.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Orioles traded the number one prospect for Cease.
Heston Kjerstad. They're not going to trade Halladay for him.
Not Halladay. Not the guy that
Heston.
The guy they got from the Mets.
Oh yeah.
Who's the guy? What the player they got from the Mets?
Hold on, let me pull up the Orioles prospects here.
Mayo?
Orioles top prospects. Let's see.
Their top 30 isn't out yet.
None of these teams have their freaking top 30 out. It's just coming soon everywhere. I think it would be Heston Kjerstad, something like that. You'd have to give up quite a bit. I mean, the Orioles.
Yeah, is this for Cease or for King?
The Cubs have a top farm. They can give up whatever the Padres want. The Braves, I would not sleep on them. They need a pitcher. They've got to replace Charlie Morton. Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, they already signed King to a 1-year mutual.
Where did you see that, Cadzilla? Because I haven't seen that.
I haven't heard that.
I haven't either.
The only thing that I heard was that they avoided arbitration by where King was getting $7.75 million. The deal splits that guarantee between a signing bonus and the buyout on a 2026 mutual option in addition to his 25 salary. But there was no contract extension. That was just a buyout.
King is still in arbitration. That's the deal. That's his contract. He didn't sign an extension.
I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, my guess they'll probably trade Cease before they trade King, the Padres.
Yeah.
And Arias. And but like Manny Machado, he said he's disappointed that they haven't done anything, and they're gonna buckle up. They're gonna be prepared and ready to go. So,
Yeah.
people
I
saying you
hear
should
that.
trade. You got to people saying that they're willing to eat a lot of money on Xander Bogaerts' contract too.
Well, Xander Bogart. The Padres did went all in 1 year, and they're paying for it now.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yeah, it's true. And if you're gonna move, you want somebody to take. You're gonna have to give him Ethan Salas to your top catching prospect.
Yeah.
There's no way. I don't think there's any way you're gonna get somebody to take Bogarts without that kid.
And I don't think the Padres are gonna trade him.
And Drew Thorpe is hurt again. Yeah, Yanks for life. Yeah, they just announced that he's hurt again. So he's the guy they traded. One of the guys they traded to the Padres for Soto, and then who got traded to the White Sox for Cease. Now he's injured again. Drew Thorpe.
Yeah, I thought when the Yankees had Thorpe, he was going to be a great pitcher, but he's only been hurt.
Almost every year.
So maybe the Yankees were smart to trade him when they could, and they.
Well, look, I mean, the only guy that turned out to be something over there is King. Higashioka was decent. He signed with the Rangers now, so
Yeah,
decent. But
the one thing when the Yankees make trade, they usually end up on the winning side of the trade.
Yeah, Johnny
You want
Brito
to hear
hasn't done
something
anything.
wild, Jason?
Go ahead.
So Juan Soto got $765 million from the Mets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scott Boras gets 5% of that. Guess how much Scott Boras is making off that one deal?
$38 million.
$38,250,000.
It's crazy, man.
Is that not wild?
Well, he can retire happy.
That's insanity.
He's getting $38,250,000 alone from that Soto deal.
I'm going to try to get an agent on here because what I want to know is if your client, like Shohei Ohtani's agent, if the majority of his contract is deferred, is the agent's cut also deferred, or does the agent get his money up front? That I don't know.
So Joseph is saying it's $800 million. So let's just say that is true.
That's all the incentives. Yeah, if
let's just say that is true. That it is $800 million after the incentives.
Here's the news by Dave
That means
Roberts.
Boras would be getting $40 million off of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Jason,
what do you got, man?
Dave Roberts just said that he suggests Shohei Ohtani will return to pitching in May.
Yeah, I saw that too. Good.
I love NFE's comment here. $38 million. No wonder why he's taking a sweet time with Bregman and Alonso.
Yeah, he already got Corbin Burns paid. So,
what was Corbin Burns' contract?
Like 200,
217, 218,
somewhere around there.
7 years.
Yeah,
I think it was 218 for 7 years.
So that's another
210 for 6 years.
210 for 6
So,
years.
All right, so 10.5 million.
210. So 10.5 million plus the 38,250.
It's $50 million.
He's making $48,750,000 between the two of them.
Two clients.
Two clients. And he's
you
making almost $49 million.
Do you know how many clients he's representing this offseason? 18.
He made bank this offseason. Now he can go retire and be happy with what he's
worth like $500 million. So
Waldichuk got traded to the A's, and Debbie Garcia is who knows?
Debbie Garcia just signed with somebody. Waldichuk got traded to the A's in the Frankie Montas trade, but I just saw something on Debbie Garcia. Let me pull him up here. Debbie Garcia, the Milwaukee Brewers.
So
Sign with the Brewers.
What do you think of Matt McLain, Jason? And so someone just
The
brought it up.
Reds.
This thing scrolling a little quickly. Yeah. Graham brought it up.
If he's available, I don't know if he's going to be available or not. I'm not sure. I mean, he's the guy. He's got control beers for second base.
Did you see what Dwayne put? I'm sorry. Did you see what Dwayne put?
After taxes, Scott Boras still top ass. Oh boy, Dwayne. Dwayne just throwing haymakers tonight.
Dwayne, well done, bro. Well done.
Oh no, I can't.
But in all seriousness, though, Matt McLain, would you be open to getting him? Because I would.
I think I would depend. How much is he making this year?
I think he's
Matt
ARB or
McLain?
pre-ARB. I think he's ARB or pre-ARB. And again, but is
I
he?
think he's pretty up. I'll let you know.
They just traded Jonathan India, which opens up a spot for McLain.
And they also got Gavin Lux.
They got Gavin Lux too. That's right. This is right too.
Yeah,
He is a second baseman, a third baseman, and a shortstop. Now, Matt McLain is still in pre-ARB. His ARB years don't start till 27, and he's not a free agent until 2030.
So I got 5 more years.
So I would be open to listening to trades for McLain, but
He is 25.
Well, yeah, he's young. He has controllable years. He would be. Who would they? What would they want for him? Would they want pitches?
What do you think? What do you think they'd want from him? Ken mentioned him 45 minutes ago. Of course. Ken, man, you lying, man? Huh? You lying to us?
I would think they would probably trade Vivas and pitching for him.
I would say it'll probably cost him an Arias, a Vivas, and pitching.
Yeah, I mean the Reds infield is a little crowded, just like the Dodgers infield is a little crowded. No.
Well, if they're crowded, they wouldn't
McLain
want.
hit 290 last year, BG. So
Maybe
I
it's
don't
released
know if he
Brazier.
strikes out that much if he's hitting 290.
So the Dodgers actually released Brazier. I know they DFA'd him. He's officially released. The Dodgers, a free agent. Ryan Brazier.
Yeah, I heard that.
And
They released him when they signed that player, the recent player they signed.
Oh yeah, Kirby Yates.
Yates.
If I was the Phillies, I'd be all over Brazier. They lost freaking Estevez and Hoffman.
Yeah,
Be a good get for the Phillies.
Yeah, Phillies are also desperate need of pitching. Man,
Yeah.
do you think he could be a Stroman candidate?
Nah, they don't need starting pitching. They need relievers.
Relievers?
They added Jesus Luzardo already in a trade.
Yeah, but they gave him quite a bit to get Jesus. And honestly, I think that was an overpay for a guy who consistently is on the IL.
Yeah. And they also who they have Wheeler. They've got who else do they have? Wheeler. Drawing blanks on everybody else. They've got a bunch of guys. Oh, Aaron Nola.
Rager Suarez.
They've got
Aaron Nola.
What the hell's the other guy's name? Taiwan Walker. Now they have Luzardo. Man, I think I'm drawing a blank on someone else. I don't know.
They
But
have Seth Johnson, Max
Sanchez. That's right, David. Yeah. That's right, Sanchez. Walker in the Romano too. Yeah.
Matt Stram, Suarez.
Yeah, they've got some. They need some relievers.
They have Zach Wheeler.
He's their ace. Yeah. They need some relief pitchers.
Tanner Banks.
Mm-hmm. Luzardo for basing. I don't know who they traded for Luzardo. I don't remember the Phillies. But it's a nice, and they also got Max Kepler too. The Phillies.
Max Kepler too.
Mm-hmm. They added Max Kepler, but they're losing Hoffman and losing Estevez. That's a blow to the bullpen.
Is Kepler not currently on the roster?
The McLain trade would cost Schmidt, Pereira, maybe a low-level pitcher. Can you do it without Schmidt? I don't know.
I think you probably could.
Mhm. They added Brady Singer already from the Royals.
So the trade for Jesus Luzardo was Jesus Luzardo and minor league catcher outfielder Paul McIntosh went to Philly. The Marlins got shortstop Starlin Caba, the Philly number 4 prospect, and outfielder Amarian Boyd, the Phillies number 23 prospect.
Decent return. Yeah, they've got Mick Abel and Andrew Painter. Yeah, they do. They have a couple young pitchers, the Phillies, Abel and Painter, and they're both top 100s. Those guys. So they got some guys.
Yeah.
The Marlins need a pitcher. That's where Marcus Stroman is a perfect fit over there.
The Yankees do need to rebuild the farm system, though. So if you can get a couple of prospects for Stroman, that might be helpful.
I'd be fine with that. And the Marlins got some decent prospects.
Yeah.
Give us some, eat most of the money and give us a prospect or two, and I'm fine with that. I like Nardi, but I'd be okay if we didn't get Nardi. We can get a lefty reliever somewhere else.
Well, last year we're in the draft. I believe we drafted 18 pitchers out of the 20 picks.
Yeah, 18 out of 20.
So we drafted a lot of pitching last year.
College pitching too.
And yeah, most of it was college.
One of the 18 was a high school pitcher.
Yes.
So, and that's it.
And I wanted there was one guy I wanted who was not a pitcher in the first draft, and I was disappointed that they didn't get him at the time. But the Yankees wanted pitching.
Yeah.
Thomas White. That's the guy's name.
Thomas White.
He was an infielder.
Who did they get? They got Ben Hess and then Bryce Cunningham. Those are the first two guys.
I thought Thomas White would have been a better prospect for the Yankees, but he's an
Thomas White a third baseman?
Yes.
From LSU?
Yes.
He was. I know who you're talking about.
Dwayne Stroman was a perfect fit for a true food truck vendor, not a Yankee pitcher.
Maybe you'll see him in the stands next year with one of those food.
One of the problems with the Yankees' top prospects is a lot of them are in the lower levels of the system.
Yeah,
Single A and Double A.
They had this problem 15 years ago. Most of the prospects were in double A and lower.
That's where we have a ton of them now.
Ken brings up a good point, Jason, that any trade with the Padres is going to be a prospect-based return. They blew up the farm with the Scott trade.
Yes, they did. I would agree. I mean, if we can get Luis Arias, I think, we can get Luis Arias for a couple of prospects, which is why I don't see Stroman going there. You'd have to trade Stroman somewhere else. So, in a separate trade. And if you can give them a prospect or two for Arias and eat most, they can eat some of the contract. This is what it is. But I think they would probably have some type of plan to trade Stroman shortly thereafter that or right before that. So
is Tanner Scott still a free agent?
No, he signed with the
Dodgers.
Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah, he signed with the Dodgers.
I remember the Dodgers are signing everyone. They signed all of the big names.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have the play.
Shout out to Ken, by the way, for this, because he brought up a great point that all that money that they have deferred and all that money that they're paying now is going to come back to bite them and tie them up for years. And he's absolutely right. So shout out to Ken for that.
Yeah, but they're also owned by a giant corporation, so I don't think it will bother them as much as people think.
And they got a TV deal too.
Yeah.
Like $300 million. And they're also not self-financing $1 billion stadium like the Yankees are.
So I'm sure the Dodgers know what they're doing before they do it, so they have a plan.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Yeah,
I
I'm more
want to ask,
worried about the Yankees now.
what is the obsession with wanting to get Bregman over here?
I don't know.
There's a couple of channels that have been peddling Bregman regardless, notoriously, just relentlessly, and you got a couple people on Twitter doing the same thing. So, because he's got a good playoff pedigree and so on and so forth. But
Yeah, you know what I think if the Yankees got Bregman, I think those same channels will be screaming next year when
they don't get Tucker,
they don't get Tucker, when they honestly the Yankees' goal at this point I think is Tucker. So if they spend a lot of money this season, more money than they already have, then they might be out of the Tucker game. That's why the Yankees are treading lightly and not spending like the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I
but
don't
what if
know.
Spencer Jones has a breakout year though? Then
If Spencer Jones has a breakout year, then Tucker will not be a factor.
Yep, that's right, Graham. Yeah, and again, like, people seem to forget all the stuff that comes along with signing Alex Bregman. There's 3 levels of penalties. 3. So
Yeah.
and
2 draft picks, $1 million, and international money, and more money.
max coverage. What's up, brother?
Actually,
Again, being over the Cohen threshold.
yeah, that's the money.
If you sign Alex Bregman for $25 million a year, it becomes $50 million, like that.
It's 100% penalty.
100% penalty. So,
and I like Robert's comment. Toxic chemistry with Bregman, probably worse than Donaldson.
yeah, it's you just don't know. You just don't know. And if you have Max, I'm not verified on Twitter, so I can't message you. But if there's any other way, I can send me a private chat here, Max Coverage. That way we can set something up. Or NFE, if you have his contact info, you don't mind sending it to me. I was talking to Max Coverage earlier, and I'm gonna see if we can put something together, bro. Like being over the Cohen threshold. This is one reason why, and I said this, like, people were really angry last week when they didn't sign Hassan Kim, right? So, and
yeah,
people
but
were
that's
like, go ahead.
It's not a risk worth taking because what? It's
and again, like, he's coming off shoulder surgery. There's a chance he's not going to be healthy. But if you sign him to that same contract, 2 years, $29 million, it becomes 2 years, $60 million here, right off the bat.
And look at Michael's comment. The Yankees can't afford the penalty, but they have other things they need to spend.
That's the thing too. Like, if you're gonna go buy a car, right? Let's just say you're gonna go buy a car. And they say, well, you can buy this car, but we have to take your TVs away from your house, and we got to take half your 401k. Would you still buy the car?
No,
probably not. Well, this is exactly what the Yankees are in. The same predicament, obviously, with different value sets. So
now, a big question that might be helpful for the Yankees is what are ways to help them pay down the debt on the stadium?
Max cover. Yeah, I'm good for Monday, Max. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it's a 20, well, it's not negative thinking, Michael. It's just common sense. I mean, the Yankees are in a different financial situation. Let me ask you a question, Michael. How many times has George Steinbrenner had a $300 million payroll? 0. How many times has he had a $250 million payroll? 0. So it's a whole different landscape now. all these levels of penalty. George Steinbrenner didn't have to finance a stadium. He also had a ship business helping him finance the Yankees. Hal doesn't have any of that stuff. But people keep saying Hal's cheap or he's not like his dad. And yet none of these things are being talked about. I called out Jeff Passan the other day because he wouldn't talk about any of this either. He's calling Yankees stingy for not being in on Alex Bregman, but he's not pointing these things out. Why?
Talking points.
I'll be curious, how much money left do they have to pay down on the stadium?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a question I would like to know.
George
Hal Steinbrenner, he's the owner. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, George Steinbrenner would spend like the Dodgers if he had his ship business financing the Yankees, which he did. Hal does not. That's a huge difference. So it's just unfair to compare him to George. George also got banned from baseball. He tried to sabotage one of his own players.
Winfield.
He's also made his mistakes too. So
yeah, when I was much younger, I remember, especially before the Yankees won in '96, how much George was despised in New York.
Well, yeah, and again, and George was universally hated by all the other owners in baseball. Okay, and he also, do you know who he tried to trade? He tried to trade Jeter and Rivera. Do you know who talked him out of it?
Gene Michael.
Hal did. Hal stopped him from trading both of them. So there are some things that I think Hal deserves credit for that he doesn't get credit for. Because you have so many talking heads just trashing him for being cheap, right? Or trashing, or they're saying the Yankees are soft.
The other thing is, I don't think Hal ever really wanted the Yankees' responsibility. I think that was meant for Hank.
Yeah, Hank was the more loud, boisterous, like his dad. George was. He's the guy that overruled Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman had a trade for A-Rod. He was ready to trade A-Rod before to the Angels, and Hank overruled him and gave him that 10-year extension with the Yankees.
Yeah, this was in 2007 or 6.
Mm-hmm. So, and Hank overruled him, and also Cashman also had an agreement to sign Vlad Guerrero Sr.
Yeah,
and George overruled him and signed Gary Sheffield instead.
Yeah, and they also had I think they had Cashman had a deal to sign Ortiz, and George wanted Giambi.
So
I think that was the case. So what would the Yankees be like if they had Ortiz, Guerrero, and others in 2003-04? Ortiz, Guerrero on the team in the 2000s?
And Pedro also, when he was with the Expos, he asked the Expos to trade him to the Yankees 3 times. Pedro Martinez.
Yep. He did say that in an interview.
Yeah, he did say it in the interview, and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't trade him to the Yankees. Which is, they could have had Pedro, Ortiz, and Vlad on the team. Crazy.
Can you imagine that?
Oh, good Lord.
That would have been a.
Here's a little interesting fun fact, Jason. The Yankees were about to sign, Greg Maddux before he went to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, what happened was they had the contract ready for him to sign, but I think it was when he got to New York, nobody was at the stadium or something like that. And then he went and signed with Atlanta.
For less money.
I never heard that.
Yeah.
And no one, how could
Yankees
no one
could have had Greg Maddux. Hall of Famer Greg Maddux. But nobody was at the stadium on the day that they were supposed to meet for him to sign his contract. So he went to Atlanta and got less money and ended up signing with Atlanta.
Why do you think that is, though?
I don't know. I don't know. I never heard that one. That's a crazy one.
You
And
never heard that one before?
No. Because
I
I
think
don't
this
think we
must
could have
have
had.
been after 1992.
Well, I do remember Maddox was almost a Yankee. Yes, I do remember that.
So could you imagine if we had Greg Maddux as well?
Maddox, Pedro.
Pettit.
My God.
We wouldn't have had Clemens.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But again, now, and I'll close with this. I'm gonna wrap it up anyway. So like people pound Cashman all the time, and I know he didn't draft the core four, right? But
Gene Michael.
yes, Gene Michael and Brian Sabian, who's with the Yankees now. Would the Yankees have won those championships in 98, 99, and 2000 without the moves that Cashman made?
No.
I don't think so.
Not
Would they have won in 98 without Wells, Duque, Scott Brocious, all these
Nope.
guys?
Justice.
In 2000 and Clemens in 99. Those were all Brian Cashman moves. All of them.
Yeah, if you substitute Clemens with Pedro, maybe you still win and win in 2001.
I don't know.
I don't know. Because I think if the Yankees got Pedro after 96, I don't think they're going after Clemens in 99.
No, let's get some intel from Ken here. Ken saying the Yankees bond for the stadium is $190 million to be paid off in 2030.
Okay.
So their stadium will be paid off in 6 more years. Thank you, Ken.
Sorry. After 2030 is when the Yankees have basically a free range to spend.
Maybe they'll have that off their books. If that's accurate, yeah. They'll have that off their books. So I don't know. We'll see.
Oh.
We will see. But everybody in here, smack the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the 4 Train Express too, please. And in the Strike Zone and Max Coverage TV, all the gangs that are in here, fantastic.
Too.
Fantastic people, man. The guys.
And I don't think they're gonna make Goldschmidt a third baseman, even if Ben Rice questions it. Ben Goldschmidt was brought here for first base.
First base, yeah. And they also brought in Dom Smith.
Yeah.
Maybe be a backup first baseman, maybe a backup DH or something like that. So he's got some power from the left-handed side too.
Sunil said the Yankees will sign you to be their radio.
Me? Yeah.
The radio voice.
Shit. You imagine that?
You want to be the next John Sterling?
Yeah, I would. If I ever get an opportunity, I'd do it. But I don't know if people want to hear my ass. So. Since Harper and Machado signed with their teams, they haven't won it. Well, this is NFE busting out the knowledge bombs right here. That's a jab in the right cross right there. That's a jab in the right cross and an uppercut.
Yeah, that's a Mortal Kombat knockout. Is that a Mortal Kombat knockout?
That's definitely Horyuken from Street Fighter with the whole arm all across the screen. Yeah, we are close, Max Coverage. And I got to talk to you about wrestling, man. I didn't realize how big of a wrestling fan you were. So we got to talk some wrestling too, bro. I used to go to the Madison Square Garden cards all through when I was growing up with my dad. He used to take me every month. It was monthly or bi-monthly. I met a lot of these folks. I got my head licked by one of the bushwhackers too.
Did you really?
Yeah, we were in the front row in Madison Square Garden. He came and licked my whole head. It was disgusting. Awesome. It was a bushwhacker. So
that's fucking wild.
Yeah,
I don't know what would happen if I experienced that. I would not like it.
You know, it was a bushwhacker. I mean, I would have rather it have been Wendy Richter who licked my head, but it was by Luker Bushwhacker. So, what? It is what it is. It's all right. I met Stone Cold Steve Austin. I met a lot of these guys. So
nice.
Yeah. It's pretty. I gotta send you. I gotta show you some photos too, Max. I got a bunch of. Yeah, I can go on for days too, man. I met the Bella girls. I met Kevin Nash, Ric
How were
Flair.
the Bella twins?
Nikki Bella is super duper outgoing. Brie
Is she?
Bella is more reserved.
Huh.
You know, she's so hot in person.
I figured that was probably the case.
Oh God. Well, this is what it is. But yeah, I can Max, man. I can go on for days too. Let me before I wrap this up. I think it's here, and I think I showed some of the folks on the channel before, but this is me, and where is he? So I don't know if you know Max, but I'm heavy into martial arts like NFE. So I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of these people. But here's me. That's my guy Ric Flair right there. Me and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
I heard
Nature
he was
Boy.
really cool.
The Nature Boy was super cool, super down to earth. Nature Boy Ric Flair. Let me see here. Shouldn't get out of that. I got some more here, man. That's Ric Flair. I got Kevin Nash. I have to find that. I think it's on I think that's on my camera. He was pretty cool too. Let's see. I don't know if you know this guy, but I'm not a wrestler, but that's my guy Kimbo Slice right there. I got to train with him when he was around. That was pretty cool. Here we go. Yeah, boy. Me and my girls right here, the Bella girls. You go, Max. Tell me my girl right there.
You look like a real player in the picture.
That was I was coming straight from work. I had my suit. I was like, "What's up, girls? What's up?" So, but Nikki Bella's super down to earth. Super down to earth. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, rest in peace, Kimbo. Yeah, and Kimbo was one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He was such a sweetheart, Kimbo. Yeah, but he punched me in the leg. I was walking like I was crippled for like a week. I had a basketball-sized bruise on my leg.
Really?
Yeah, when I rolled with him, he caught me. He caught me when he was getting into the UFC, was getting into MMA. They brought in a bunch of people, and big guys, small guys, and I was one of the smaller guys that came in to kind of give him some problems, and I rolled with him, but he caught me. He caught me with a punch, and that shit hurt. So
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't brave it like David Blaine did. He took gut shots from Kimbo and didn't flinch.
Sunil is bringing up bad memories.
Who is that?
Sunil is bringing up memories.
Yeah, the porn trolls. They left us. Now we get Azadanya. He lost. I heard, right? Yeah. Yeah. I like it.
Like
Godzilla. Max coverage. We're going to talk wrestling, brother. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about wrestling on Monday. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat, and appreciate all the feedback. This is the latest that we're hearing right now from the Yankees on the Yankees. So I'll keep you updated. We know who the Yankees are in on. But again, anything that they yeah, see Omar Minaya. Yeah, you're right, Mazza. Omar Minaya said on WFAN earlier tonight that the Yankees are not done.
There are more moves coming, just not right now.
Yeah, and playing Peraza is not a move. Playing Cabrera is not a move. Playing DJ is not a move. So just something to keep in mind.
Those are moves that we don't want to happen.
Yeah, Diamond Dallas Page. Oh my God.
Where the team is incomplete right now. There has to be some. And Peraza is a player that I wouldn't be surprised if it's traded.
These guys will get every opportunity, and at the very least, one of these guys will probably be a bench player. So
what do they have? 37 guys on the roster right now.
37. They need 3 more spots in the roster.
Yeah.
So, One of them is going to be a backup catcher, Oswaldo most likely, and then Grisham if he's still here. If he's not here, either Everson Pereira or Brennan Davis or someone else, Kike, if they sign him, or get me to pickleball court. Yeah. I think I get humiliated on pickleball court. That's your goal, right, Sonia?
Maybe Sunil needs to get into disc golf.
The kids, I mean, they're going to get every opportunity to try to win a position. So, but I think their upper tier goal is to bring in somebody who could be better than all the guys that they have in house. So, and
yeah, I think that's probably true.
And like, if Brendan Donovan somehow presents an availability, they're going to be all over it. Ryan McMahon, they're going to be all over it. But we don't know. Nico Horner, I think they'll be all over it. But I think we're going to have to wait and see where the hell Alex Bregman goes.
Is Ryan McMahon a contact bat too? Can he make?
He's a contact bat. He's an elite glove. He hits from the lefty side. He's got 4 years of control. He hits about 20 home runs a year.
I may prefer McMahon over Donovan.
I don't know. Donovan's more aggressive on the base paths. He's faster. I mean, if I wouldn't complain if they got either one. I would not complain at all.
Jose Ramirez won't be available.
No, he won't be. And that's just if he's dying to give somebody some noogies. The Mets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's been wanting to do that for a while, I think.
Yeah. NFE, man, we're gonna give some people some noogies. So, yeah, McMahon is a stud. So is Donovan. They're studs. They're definitely studs. But there's a reason why they're not made available yet, because they're freaking studs. So,
exactly.
But again, can he hit away from Coors is the question too, Max. We don't know. And he would be on a better lineup here, so we'd have different type of protection with the Yankees. So he'd get more opportunities to play, especially if he bats fourth. They're not going to pitch around Judge to get to him so that they can get to Stanton. Like, it's just they're going to
remember Colorado was the last place team last year.
Colorado, yeah. I mean, it makes sense for Colorado to entertain moves on him at the very least. So, but we'll see. We'll see. And like Ramirez on one hand, they traded Naylor already. They traded Andres Jimenez. So Ramirez is he the only bat? J. Ram's the only bat they have left, right? Or Kwan too. Him and Kwan. So, me too, man. I drilled a lot this morning, a lot, and then I finished it off with squat jumps. I had 20-pound dumbbells, did some deep squats, and kept jumping, 2 sets of 25. And now my legs feel like jelly. So, I don't know if I'll be able to walk tomorrow. But yeah, career 243 hitter. Yeah. I mean, and again, the 243 hitter can be deceptive too. Is it timely hitting? Because if you're hitting, look at Scott Brocious. He didn't have flashy stats, but he hit timely hitting. Right?
It's true.
One of the best 9 hitters in the history of baseball.
Yeah, I think Brocious was the key to that three-peat.
Mm-hmm. If the timely hitting is you're hitting it at the right time. Matt Olson was my first pick too, Siciliano. Yeah. Isn't Tommy Pham signed? Or is he a free agent?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure where he is. I'm not sure. I think Arizona's going to be pretty decent. They got Corbin Burns too. White didn't J. Ram. They gave him a 5-year, I think $125 million extension. He gave them a hometown discount, super, super duper discount, outlet stores discount. So, yeah, because he could probably get $300 million now if he was a free agent.
Yeah, I mean the prices are crazy.
Yeah,
I remember reading Joe DiMaggio had in 1949 signed the first $100,000 contract.
Do you know who signed the first $1 million contract?
Was that Nolan Ryan?
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Good work. Good work. Well done.
I think that was in 1980 or 19.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was 79, 80, something like that.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
$1 million per year.
NFE, I think I would agree at the Giants. I mean, the Giants need another bat. They need another bat. And they also lost Blake Snell. And they didn't really replace him too much. So,
So,
Jack Flaherty,
yeah.
I
I mean, right now we're up to $70 million a year. I guess in the next 10 years we could be talking about $100 million.
you could. You definitely could.
$100 million a year contract, though. That is insane.
That's Messi type money right there.
It will happen eventually, but it's insane.
It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, gang, have a great night. You two guys, I want to thank you all for coming on.
Thank you for
having me.
The best. Appreciate all of you. Shout out to everybody.
You're always welcome to send out the send me a link, and I'm always welcome to.
When I'm like I'll start doing it more often once the season starts because I'll have a little bit more availability.
Yes, that's obviously, but I'm just letting you know I'm always well. If I'm available at night, which I'm usually am during the night, I'll be coming.
Okay, love to have you guys. And Max coverage, we're gonna get you on here too. NFE, gonna get you on here too, bro. Braves are gonna. I don't know, man. Austin, Riley's healthy. Like the Rays are healthier again now. So are the Texas Rangers. I wouldn't sleep.
I think the Rays are going to be a bigger problem than the Orioles this year for the Yankees.
I think the Rays and the Red Sox are going to be a bigger problem.
Yeah. The Yankees will not have an easy time like last year.
No.
Last year was a cakewalk. This year is going to be a street fight.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think the Dodgers are going to have a cakewalk either. Let's put it out there. I don't think they're going to walk to the World Series.
No.
They got to stay healthy. They got to perform. There's other teams that got better. The Reds got better. Diamondbacks got better. So
yeah. I think the Diamondbacks will be the biggest threat to the Dodgers this year.
Ken, you come on, man. You can always come on too, my man. Come on. Ken likes the bust chop. He likes the bust chops, doesn't he?
He does.
He has his own channel now, so he can create his own open panels.
Let's get it going on your channel, Ken. Come on, man. Let's go. Come on. Yeah, I mean, I agree, cruise control. Either a trade incoming or a signing, something. They have 3 more positions they have to fill. So just have to wait and see what those positions are going to be. But obviously, one of them is going to be infield, one of them is going to be lefty reliever, and probably backup catcher. Who? Needs to be seen.
And as I said, I think this month the Yankees will make a couple moves, and over spring training there will also be moves. So the next 7 weeks we will have a better idea of where the Yankees will be.
100%. 100%.
Agreed.
But gentlemen, have a great night. Enjoy your night. Everybody in the chat, peace and love to all these. Thank you. You are the best. And again, just keep an eye out. If you subscribe to Fortran Express, make sure you turn your notifications on. Same goes for Max Coverage. Same goes for NFE in the Strike Zone and Ken as well. That way you know when stuff comes out. Okay, when you turn on your notifications, you'll get notification that it all comes out. And we're going to continue to give you the good news as it comes in. Yep. So appreciate all of you. Have a great night. And I'll see you on the other side.
Sounds good.